morning, everybody, and welcome to Pirate Board Game Breakfast, Episode 3. This is Mike DiLisio.
Hello, I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Dan Hughes.
And we are thrilled to be here with you today for another fantastic Thursday live breakfast show. We have stolen the airwaves, and we're not giving them back. Is that right?
24 hours we're going to be on this, Mike. 24 hours. We're going to just
stream.
Keep on you hit it here first. A 24-hour stream starting now.
I thought we are hijacking the Dice Tower stream.
Oh, there's bathroom break, but we take the cameras with us.
Yeah, Chris, you found the flaw in the logic.
Yeah, that's not a break,
there,
Dan. Yeah. That's working hours.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just really wanted to mention quickly that next week we're not going to be having a Thursday breakfast because we're going to be running the Dice Tower Cruise. So we'll still have plenty of content up. Don't you worry about that, as always. But we're not going to be having our live breakfast show next Thursday. Just wanted to remind folks of that. All right. Well, gentlemen, are we ready to kick the show off?
Oh, yeah.
I believe we are.
Well, we're going to start it off with some fantastic contributors, and then we're going to be back here with a game show from Dan. So let's all cross our fingers that it's not complete anarchy.
You say that with a very subtle undertone of distrust, Mike. I look forward to seeing Dan prove you wrong.
Well, I was not trying to be subtle at all. Let's cut to the contributors, Roy.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, today we're talking about Return to Dark Tower. This has been the game that has been kind of sweeping the internet lately. Let's talk about our thoughts on it. Basically, it's a cooperative game that has this massive tower. It's all run by this app. It's a cooperative game where you are going to face villains and you don't really know what they're going to take from you. Maybe you have to lose some of your warrior tokens, maybe some virtue tokens, maybe more skulls get out of the board, which is kind of like one of the lose conditions. You can destroy some of your buildings. Maybe you're going to have to take corruptions, which is closer to death and also makes you have less rules that you can do to the fullest. And again, big, tough villains, really cool tower, lights, sounds, it's unbelievable.
The production of this game is absolutely incredible. Like, the little skulls are extremely detailed, and I really love that. And then the individual players, the player sheet is just, the artwork is extremely immersive. It's just like the production value of this game is out of this world. They did a fantastic job with the production. There's
a ton of different scenarios in this game, and you can choose which bad guys you use, each villain of each stage. So every time you play, there's hundreds of different scenarios that you can be playing because there are so many different variables that you can tweak, and every time it's going to be a very different experience. Lots and lots and lots of replayability, but basically, no matter what, it's going to be tough. Yeah. Very, very challenging cooperative game, which I like.
Yeah, I normally love really challenging cooperative games. I didn't enjoy this one so much because I didn't feel like I had the amount of control I wanted for as long as the game was. If the game was shorter and I felt like I didn't have that much control, I'd be totally fine with that. But because the game, our gameplays were typically, 2 to 3 hours?
2. I'd say maxed out at 2.
Yeah, and I didn't feel like I had the control I wanted, and so I had a really hard time trying to enjoy it.
I liked it a lot, though.
I know. It's okay. You can disagree with me. Everybody else does. But if you want to hear more from us, you can find us on Facebook or YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Until then, this is Ryan. I'm Bethany, and we're hoping that you have a happy, healthy breakfast. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Assalamu alaikum. For the next few weeks, I'll be covering some of the worksheets or notebooks that Gameschooler.com provides on their website freely as downloadable content for your board games. These are worksheets and notebooks which kids can use before and after playing the games to actually build up some of the educational elements that they can grasp from simple games. So if you have kids in your family, try to check them out at Gameschooler.com and get these notebooks from there. Let's get on with it. The worksheet available for regular pandemic or legacy pandemic is a very simple worksheet in which you get to fill out, or the kids get to fill out, the names of the viruses before they play the game. The intention is that rather than thinking about the game in terms of just mechanics, that I'm removing the cubes from a board, the kids will get an intimate feel of what is a virus. They will get to not only name the different colored viruses, they will also get to tell that what does this virus do? How does it affect the human body? What do they think, how it is transmitted from one person to another person? So that when you are playing the game, they feel a more connection to, oh, this is happening because of this method that we are doing. And then they can be more protective or more health conscious in their life as well, because now they understand more that how viruses can spread in real world. They will even get to draw a picture of what do they think the virus looks like. So it's a very simple and yet creative way of learning about viruses while playing Pandemic. Get it from gameschooler.com. Happy gaming!
Right, we have a quiz, gentlemen, a quiz. And I am, and I've only vaguely thought about how I'm going to do it. So I've got a bunch of statistics here, and the name of the quiz is, Are You a Weirdo? Now, I think we can all agree that both Mike and Chris are weirdos, but who is the bigger weirdo? That's what I want to. I've got a highly accurate set of statistics here of some questions that were asked, as far as I can tell, the entire population of Earth. So these are entirely accurate statistics.
So they're not even doing the sample size thing. They've asked every individual on the planet these questions.
Every individual on Earth, or alternatively, just random weirdos who filled in a survey on the internet. I'm not sure which. It's one or the other. So what I'm going to do?
There's no bias in filling out a survey called "Are you a weirdo?" Let's go for it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question, and then you are going to, it's a binary question, so it's either kind of one side or the other. And then you're going to give your answer to it, speaking from your own personal, private, inner soul. And then I will inform you both whether you are a weirdo or not, whether you are with the majority of the population or not. And then, gentlemen, you will try and guess the percentages. It's a vague percentage game. We're just vague. Let's just start. Okay.
All right.
It's a very stream of consciousness game show. I like it.
Yeah. This is what happens when you don't really prepare for anything. Okay. So, Mike and Chris.
Yes.
Do you try to make your popcorn last through the whole movie?
Absolutely.
Now, who gets asked first?
Now, Mike, you do you try and make your popcorn last for the whole movie, or do you just shove it all in your face in the trailers? Which side are you going to go down on there?
All right. Well, Dan, first of all, and Chris, maybe this makes me the biggest weirdo of all. Maybe I win before I even answer the question, because I don't like eating popcorn in movie theaters. The reason why is that it gets stuck in my teeth, and then for the remainder of the film, I'm jabbing sharp objects under my gums to try to get at the one kernel that I can't reach. However,
you're making a mockery of this quiz. You're making a mockery.
If I was
whatever snack, your M&Ms or whatever.
Okay. So if I get some candy or whatever, that's going to be gone before the previews are over. There's no way I'm making that last throughout the movie. Not a chance.
Okay, so Chris, what about you?
Okay, sorry. I didn't want to answer prematurely. Do I make the popcorn last for the whole movie? Absolutely not. There is a 0% chance that there's a single kernel left standing surviving in the bottom of that bucket by the time we reach, halfway through the film.
Chris even eats the unpopped kernels.
He shoves them up his nose and snorts. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so, Mike, do you think you're with the majority of the population or the minority? Are you normal or are you a weirdo?
In this case, Dan, I'm absolutely normal.
Okay. Chris, what about you? Are you
totally
normal or a weirdo? Normal? You are both wrong. Absolutely. 0 points there. You are in the minority. You're in the
Earth lies, Dan. The planet lies.
Well,
I
what
do
can I
not
say?
trust the respondents of this survey.
So now, Mike, you're going to go first. What percentage of people do try and make their popcorn last through the whole movie? And I'll give you a clue. It's over 50% because that is how prejudice works.
I was going to say, I've used some deductive reasoning here, Dan, and I know it's over 50%. Okay, so what percentage of the population makes their popcorn last through the whole movie? Now, look, as the kids say, Dan, I think this whole question is sus because I'm betting these people are counting refills.
No,
that's what I'm thinking.
I'm not saying they
do. That's the loophole.
Refill conspiracy of 2022.
Yeah, I was going to say, sus is so 2 years ago.
Also, some of the tubs of popcorn are about 850 ounces. So anyway, I'm going to say 67%.
67%.
That's correct. Lock me in, Dan.
I'm locking you in. Chris, what are you going to go for?
Now, thinking about it again, the wording of this question was try.
Exactly.
Right? How many people try? Yeah. So because people are terrible estimators at their own skill, I'm going to go with 80%.
80%. Neither of you are right. The total is 60. No, it's not. It's 58%. 58% of people try and make their popcorn last.
Who was closer?
Movie. I'm not actually going to ask for you exact. Mike was closest there, so Mike gets 1 point. Put a little point on Roy for Mike. 1. Excellent.
Keep that zero next to Chris, Roy.
Yeah. Right.
Keep that zero right next to Chris.
Yeah. Make the zero a bit larger, please, Roy.
Anger the person running.
See if you can make it surround his entire face.
Could you put a 20 next to mine as well, please, Roy? Thank you. Because I'm winning. Okay. So now, start with Chris first. Chris.
Okay.
Would you rather play a tuba than a bass drum in a marching band?
Oh.
Would I rather play the tuba?
Yep.
So the question is, would I play tuba over bass drum?
Yes.
No. Bass drum, man.
Bass drum. Okay. Mike, would you rather play a bass drum or a tuba?
For the purposes of this game, I feel like I need to be contrarian at least sometimes. But this is only the second question. I'm sure I'll have chances to mock Chris's choices, but I'm also going with a bass drum. Tubas, while they have the comedy factor, there's nothing funnier than a tuba. It's heavy. It's onerous to lug that thing around. So I'm going with a bass drum.
It is.
Bass drum's also very heavy. And typically marching bands use what are called sousaphones instead of tubas. I don't know if is that the case in England, Dan? Do you call them sousaphones, the ones that wrap around?
No, they're called belts. Right.
Because you don't have a fantastic American
that's what you wrap around
in your country.
To stop your trousers coming down. Is that what you're talking about? Anyway,
there's the tuba, which you sit on your lap, and then the sousaphone is the one that wraps over your shoulder, usually used in marching bands.
I understand. I'm not interested.
Let me explain it again, Dan.
Okay, so you're both saying you'd rather play a bass drum rather than a tuba. Is that right?
That's correct.
So, Chris, are you the weirdo in this situation, or are you with the majority of the population?
I think I'm the weirdo here.
Okay, Chris thinks he's the weirdo. Okay, Mike, what are you saying?
I also think I'm the weirdo.
You neither of you are weirdos because everybody wants to play a bass drum. Well, there's a proportion of people want to play a bass drum. So you're all right. You're normal here, guys. You're normal. You don't need to.
Okay.
I know that was keeping you up at night.
It's the nicest thing you've ever said about us, Dan.
Yeah.
Very
okay, so what percentage now of people would rather play a tuba? I'll give you a clue. It's under 50%.
Okay, you're going in the other direction here, Dan. You're changing it up on us now. Okay.
I'm wild and wacky. I told you this isn't thought through. So any kind of user friendliness or anything like that is out the window. We're just doing random stuff. So Chris,
you don't have to tell us it hasn't been thought out, Dan. The audience has figured that out long ago. All right.
Yeah, I got to do some calculations here. Pi r squared in the quadratic formula. 23% of people would rather play the tuba over the bass drum.
Okay, 23%. Mike, what about you?
Chris is doing his mathematical computations. A squared plus B squared equals 35%, Dan.
You were close, Mike. It's 39% of people would rather play a tuba than a bass drum. So well done.
39% of people are wrong.
Yeah, I'd agree. I go with you guys. So Right, put another one. That's 2 now. Mike's got. I've got 40, and Chris has got 0 still. But make it even bigger. Make it so it covers his face. I can't see what he's doing, unfortunately. So, right. Okay.
Dan, what's the term you would use for Chris still having 0 points?
Loser. I'd use loser. The loser.
I thought you'd say it's shocking.
Well, it is pretty shocking. Okay, Mike, we're back with you again now. Okay.
Yes.
Do you prefer your emoticons with noses?
I don't prefer emoticons, Dan. Okay.
Well, do you prefer them with or without noses? You can't be too contrary. You're just trying to. Every turn you're throwing a spoke in the wheels of my game here.
Well, your game has very few spokes, so I'm going to go with I want no noses with my emoticons, Dan. Okay. No noses.
So you prefer your emoticons sans nose, as the French would say.
Sans schnozola, yes.
Yes. Mixing French and German. Nice.
Oui, oui.
Chris, what about you? Do you like your emoticons with noses?
When you say emoticons, do you mean like the actual typed out characters, or do you mean emojis?
I love that we're
like
questioning. I love that we're making
questioning
Dan
everything,
clarify
Mike.
these questions.
Of course, I mean both, Chris. I mean both. They're all emoticons. I have a broad church here. I accept all emoticons, even the ones that have little strawberries and things like that. They can have noses. There's no reason why not, is there?
Right.
Got it. Oh, so we're counting pancakes with the faces on it.
Oh yeah, baby.
Okay. Yeah.
Look, a poop emoji clearly doesn't want a nose. It doesn't want to smell itself. So let's be clear here, Chris.
Interesting fact: Cora based one of the drawings of Cora Quest on a poop emoji, and then put a head on it to make it a snake. But anyway, that's beside the point.
All right.
This is the biggest tracing controversy since. No, okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna say that I prefer them, as they would say in Madrid, sin nariz, no nose.
You're both no noses. You see, this is why the Dice Tower needs people like me in to get a bit of variety and not this bland
little hive mind going on here.
Yeah. So, do you feel, Mike, that you were in the majority not liking your noses on your emoticons?
I think I'm a weirdo here, Dan.
You think you're a weirdo? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Chris,
I'm normal. I am in the majority.
Okay. Well, Chris is correct, so he gets a point. Chris is in the majority.
Of course.
Most people prefer their emoticons without noses. I was trying to think of the Niet nose. There you go. A little bit of Russian feel there as well.
Yeah.
So we go back to the exciting question: what percentage of people do like them with noses? So again, we're under 50%. Yeah. So Mike, you're going first here, I think.
Okay, so most prefer them with noses. I would say
without
73%.
No,
without noses. Without noses. That makes a big difference. 73%.
No, you've completely
the
lost
same number.
Whatever. I'm not even going to speak to you.
Wait. Oh, so it's. Are we wanting the less than 50%?
Yeah, the people who want the emoticons with noses. I could do it the other way around, but that would mean math.
Okay.
So
then I'll try to do math. 33, 28%.
28% like their emoticons with noses.
I didn't do the math right, but that's okay.
I'm very much looking forward to watching this back so I can see the live chat about the big debates that are going on in there about emoticons with noses and things like that.
All I know is I am stuck behind a gigantic number 1 for my 1 point right now. I love it. I'm going to say the percentage of people who like it with noses is
correct,
only 25%. I'm like Evanescence. I'm going under.
25%.
Well, you undercut me by only 3 percentage points, Chris?
You were going 70 initially. You don't you start criticizing people's quiz going skills. You've just been.
I'm criticizing. Make no mistake.
Well, anyway, Mike, you have got a point because the actual true answer is 32% of people like their emoticons with noses. So that's another point for Mike, Roy. Put him another point down there. I can't remember what it is now.
Never seen an emoticon with noses.
total of 2 points. He's actually got 3. Let's say 2. And I've got another 20 points. That's 60 points for me, please. Thank you.
Let's say we got 2 more questions. How's that sound?
That sounds fine. I've got some corkers here. I've got some corkers.
All right.
Oh boy. Let's get a pop. Let's go.
It's Chris now.
Okay.
Chris, do you feel your signature is legible? Oh yeah, asking the hard questions. 60 Minutes are going to be ringing me up soon and asking me to become their interview question writer.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay, Chris thinks his signature's legible. Mike, I know you normally sign. What
were you going to say?
I was saying you normally sign your checks with an X, but let's just pretend you can write your own name. Would your signature be legible?
Well, Dan, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV, and so I like to make my signature commensurate with that. I'm going to say my signature is not legible, Dan. Okay. Not legible.
Not legible. So we have a difference in thing. So that makes it more difficult for me to work out what's going on. Okay, so that's fine.
Fantastic. So, if I'd have known that, I would have been contrary to Chris much earlier. If I knew it made your job harder, Dan.
So, Chris, you feel your signature is legible. Are you with the majority, or are you a weirdo?
This honestly depends the average age of the people who are being polled here, because
it's everybody in the world. Everyone
in the whole planet, Chris. We've established this.
This is incredibly scientific. It's not just random people filling in surveys on the internet.
Right.
Okay.
And I desperately need to know how many honey badges are included in this, but I'm going to say that I'm in the minority. I believe that most people say that their signatures are illegible.
Okay. Mike, you said your signature was not legible.
Correct.
Are you a weirdo, or are you in the majority?
I'd like to be contrary to Chris just to make your job more difficult, but I think that I am in the majority here.
You feel that most people feel their signatures aren't legible. Well, you would be right. You would be right. Most people do feel their signatures aren't legible. So Chris and Mike get 1 point each. 1 point each, Roy. Okay.
1 point each. Yep.
I'll just be told to make it a bit clearer for Roy. Yeah. So now the question remains. The exciting question remains. I can't remember who's going first, but we need to know what percentage of people think their signatures are legible. Okay.
It'll be Chris first because he undercut me the last time. It didn't work, but that's what he did.
He did. You're right.
I can't wait to see you undercut me, Mike. What percentage of people think their signatures are legible?
Yes.
I'm going to go with a cool 21%.
21% for Chris. Impressive number generating there. Mike, are you able to generate an equally impressive number?
Solid.
I think so. I'm going to come. I'm not going to do what Chris did. I'm going to have a healthy space between our guesses. I'm going to say 32%, Dan. And that's the standard, the American system, not the metrics. That's 32%.
All right, so that's 30% in UK terms.
Yes. Factoring the exchange rate and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. The UK percentage rate is a bit low at the moment. So somebody's right. Who cares? What was the question? Signatures, wasn't it? 47% of people feel their signatures are legible. So therefore, Mike gets another point.
Crushing this game.
You are. You're in touch with the common people.
I'm walking away knowing that I'm the biggest weirdo of them all. I'm okay with that.
I haven't really kept track of that. So that's another point for Mike, no points for Chris there, and 20 more points for me. So I'm on 80, I think. Right.
Final question, Chris.
Going for that perfect 100, like in bowling.
This is what we call the mathematically eliminated question, Chris.
Yeah,
you and I both, Mike, we're out.
Yeah.
Right, shut up. Final question. To Chris first. Yes, Chris first. Do you root for Wile E. Coyote over Roadrunner?
Oh. Wow, these are the hard-hitting questions of empathy.
I was going to run them by you in case you all thought they were too personal, but I decided not to. Yeah.
This is the type of question that demands an answer.
Yeah, no, and I'm curious. I'm going to watch the live chat later and see which of these people are humane and which one of these people are not.
Yeah. Well, I think most of the live chat have gone and they're turned off by now. But still, the news is coming soon, guys. The news is coming soon.
Oof. Okay. Who do I root for? This is a question of existential levels of ponderance and
You're stalling,
really.
Chris.
He's stalling.
I am stalling.
We have to do the news in a
I've
minute.
never thought of this before, Mike. Dan, well done. I have analysis paralysis. I root for Wile E. Coyote. He's
Root
the
for
underdog.
Wile E. Coyote. Okay. Okay, Mike, who do you root for?
Dan, how did he struggle with this question? I didn't need a long time. I knew the answer as soon as the question was out of your mouth. The answer is clearly you root for Wile E. Coyote. Super genius.
I think neither of you have taken
I
into
was
account.
not around when these cartoons were invented, Mike. I have the disadvantage on the
Wile E. Coyote. Super genius. No, Roadrunner is so snarky and superior and you know, no. Wile E. Coyote, the everyman. The everyman's coyote.
Roadrunner doesn't need to meep twice. That's pushing.
Right. Yeah, he's just showing off at that
I don't
point.
think either of you have thought this through to its logical conclusion. When he catches it, there's going to be a bloodbath. No one wants to see that. All right, Chris does. It's going to be horrific. It's going to be feathers flying everywhere. Anyway,
You know, there's
It's the
unreleased
circle
animations
of
that
life,
somewhere
Dan.
in the
It's
Warner
the
Brothers
wheel of fortune. It's the circle of life, Dan.
it's not the wheel of anyway. Whatever.
You're thinking of Wheel of Time, Mike.
Whatever.
Don't. Yeah, this isn't Tom's Q&A. We're not talking about wheels of time all the time. Right. Okay. So, Chris, do you think you're in the majority or the minority?
No, I'm in the minority.
Okay, Chris thinks he's in the minority. Mike.
I absolutely think that I'm in the majority. Wile E. Coyote is the one to root for. I mean, Acme. It's all about Acme.
I think people
Mike, you are
sympathize with
correct.
him.
You are in the majority. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Most people are bloodthirsty heathens who want Wile E. Coyote to murder
Of course.
a poor innocent bird on I was going to say
My
live
faith in
TV
humanity is
animation.
restored a little bit, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Roadrunner is many things, Dan, but innocent is not one of them.
That's my response.
Meep meep.
Yeah. Okay, so Chris, what percentage of people do root for Wile E. Coyote? And it's over 50%.
I don't think it's that high. I'm gonna go with 59%, Dan. 59% of people root for Wile E. Coyote to finally catch that evil trans-dimensional teleporting Roadrunner.
Roadrunner, yeah. Mike, what are you saying?
You see all these virtual chips in front of me, Dan? I'm going all in.
Okay.
78%. 78%.
78%.
Go big or go home.
If he
That's
gets this wrong,
the
he loses.
credo.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's the credo
well,
of Wile E. Coyote. Go big
Are
or go
you
home.
willing to bet the entire of your points for this then on 78%? Is that what you're saying? As Chris says, is this the final question? You'd be a fool because you're winning anyway. All in, right? Fair enough. Well, you're wrong, Mike. You were a fool because it's only 52% of people are bloodthirsty murderers. So Chris is overall. Well done, Chris.
Take it back.
So,
Dan, I pale in comparison to your points. I'm merely a player, an actor in your opera.
I do have, I think, 120 points. I don't know. I can't see the screen. So, Roy, if you can put all Mike's points now on Chris's, please.
This is just like one of the cartoons. I painted a tunnel opening on the side of the mountain, and Chris somehow found a way to shoot through that.
Well. So that was a quiz. That was a quiz.
I'm anything but innocent.
I'm sure you'll all agree that was the best quiz the Dice Tower have ever done.
Oh, it was a quiz, Dan.
Right, what will you do now?
We're going to head to a couple of contributors, and then we'll be back with the news.
Hi everyone, how you doing? I'm Cloud Barker and I'm back talking about board games, digital versus physical. And one of the beautiful things about digital games is that generally they're available and there'll be things that you can try that you might not have considered in the past. I talked about Blue Skies recently, and this is another game. The game itself is a game called Fleet. And why wouldn't I have looked twice at this game? Well, it looks a little bit dull. I'm not interested in the theme necessarily. You know, fishing isn't really for me. It's not something I've ever done, and I'm vegetarian, go figure. And so it's just not a game that I would have considered. Also, it's 10 years old and it's got less than a 7 rating on Board Game Geek. So why would I play this? If I saw it on a table, I would completely pass it by. But on Board Game Arena, you know, people will come up to me and they'll be like, hey, do you want to try this game? And to be honest, you don't know what year it's from unless you look it up. And you don't know the rating unless you look it up. And, you know, you probably don't even know what it looks like completely until you've started playing it. And then you're in. And that's what's wonderful. You get to play this game. Now, Fleet is just a really simple game. There's a deck of cards, and those cards are either points, special actions, or they're coins. And so they double up as all these different things. And then on top of that, you get cubes, which are your points. Now, I don't fully, because I've been playing this online, can't visualize the scoring so much. That's one beauty about playing physically, is that you have to count up all your points at the end. So I think you get to know where the points are coming from a lot quicker. But this is a game that I am just really enjoying it. It's a fairly quick game. You just bang, 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 cards go out, you'll go through a few rounds and then it finishes. It's a wonderful game. I highly recommend it. If I saw it in the shops, I would pick it up, believe it or not. And so that is Fleet. I'm Cloud Barker. Until next time, take care and bye.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you the mechanisms and the IP match. Today we're looking at Chip 'n Dale's Christmas Treasures. So each round, you're going to take over the top card and do what it says. So you do whatever the event says when it pops up. Then, on your turn, you can look and flip over cards. So everybody can see these, kind of like memory. So this has 2 Plutos on it. I could just take this card and be done, or I can flip over another card and kind of press my luck. I will flip this over. Now, if I flip over and there are 3 Plutos, I can only take 1 card. So I can take the popcorn, which potentially, if I get 3, could be worth 5. Or I can just take the acorn's always going to be 1. I'll take the acorn for now. The next person will go, and they can flip over cards. 1 Pluto. That's pretty good. Let's see. And there's no Pluto, so I can keep going. And let's say I wanted this. I wanted to stop for whatever reason. Then, because I didn't get Pluto, I didn't bust, I can take 2 cards. So maybe I'll take the bell that's worth 2 points. And maybe I want to start collecting the popcorn. So he'll take this one. That's my 2 cards. This one will flip back over, and a new one will go. So now the third person will go. At the end, you'll score all the cards in your hand. Whoever has the most points is the winner. Growing up, I was a huge fan of this particular Disney short. I liked the Chip 'n Dale and the Mickey and the Pluto interaction. And this one really brings it home. As you're Chip 'n Dale, you're trying to get to the Christmas tree to steal like ornaments and candy canes and things. And Pluto's jumping out and trying to stop you, and that will cause you to bust. There's like a pressure of luck into this game. And then you have an event coming out every round, which kind of shakes things up and allows you to score in different ways. But really what you're doing is drafting these cards and having set collection, and it works in this aspect. You always have that dread, or at least little kids do, of Pluto popping his head out of the tree and grabbing Chip 'n Dale. So it has a lot of that tension in it that you're looking for. You can play this probably with somebody as young as 4 or 5. There's no reading required. And I feel like this one really does fit the theme and was a good hit around the holidays for us.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that's game adjacent in terms of things that revolve around making play easier. And Cubitos, I think that's probably how it's pronounced, I think does a wonderful job of this. It's a game all about rolling lots of dice, buying dice, moving around this racetrack, and it's a lot of fun. But what makes it an ease and breeze to play are these. These are little storage boxes that you do need to fold and put together yourself when you get the game. But the dice of the different colours sit on top. So when you buy one, you can just take it from the top and it goes into your pool. And then on the box, it's actually got the symbols of the dice face, so you know your probabilities of rolling it. So in this case, there's 2 of these faces these beaver faces on this dice, which is referencing to that card, or in whichever one you've got in play of that colour. The card's got the number of faces on, the boxes, so it's really easy to see. So you can see I've got a third chance of rolling the face I need from that dice. Now they're around the table, and it just means they're not piles of dice. You can easily grab them, throw them back, and then at the end, you just open it up and you can drop all of the dice in, and it's stored sort of, rattly, but it is stored for you to put it back into the box. It means getting the game to the table and playing are both improved by these little boxes. Anyway, I just thought, they really are handy. I think more games should do that. Let us know if you know of any others that do something similar in the comment section below. And I'm Oliver East, signing out.
And gentlemen, it's time for the news. Are we ready for the news?
Woohoo! Am I?
Here's how you know I'm
anyway.
ready for the news. I put on my news reading specs. There we go. Now we're ready for the news.
Reading specs. I'm ill prepared for this.
All right, so we're going to start off with some news in the world of Legendary, and in this case specifically, the James Bond Legendary game. All right, and this is a new expansion coming, I think, this month. In February. This is the Spy Who Loved Me expansion for James Bond Legendary. Have either of you played this version of Legendary?
Dan, have you even heard of James Bond?
No, he's a complete rumor. I'm being hotly tipped that I'm going to be the next James Bond, actually, Chris.
Oh,
yeah.
It's between you and Idris Elba.
Sorry.
I think you've got the upper hand there, Dan.
Yeah.
James
I'm
Bond,
so
sorry.
suave. That's what it is.
Hora's dad.
I haven't, but Legendary do narrative surprisingly well for a card game.
Yeah.
The alien stuff really translated the films really well, considering it's just a bunch of cards. So this, and I tell you what, they've got the right license for 7 billion expansions here, haven't they? They know. They've
that's
picked
true.
the right horse there.
They could go movie by movie. I mean,
right. Yeah, it says that the first expansion had On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was clearly the most popular of all of them, and License to Kill. And this new expansion has 120 cards and has Carl Stromberg along with Jaws. Everyone's favorite Bond villain, I think, is Jaws. This is a Roger Moore version of of James Bond. So yeah, they've kind of gone across all of them, right? They've had some Sean Connery ones. They've had Roger Moore. I think they've even had some Timothy Dalton ones in here. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. What's the next franchise you're gonna? The Ernest films. There's a lot of those.
Oh,
Ernest
yeah.
Goes to
Ernest
Camp.
Goes to Jail.
Legendary
Ernest Goes to Camp could be the next legendary thing. You heard it here first, folks. Dice Tower News.
They should do Austin
Legendary
Powers
Ernest.
and make it completely shuffleable, mix-inable with the James Bond series. I would play that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. That was good
Legendary Havern. Moving on, we've got a new title from Spielworks, and this is a design from Matthias Kramer. And I guess this was something that was originally announced as a 2019 release from Compass Games, but instead is going to be a co-production between a German company and Capstone in the U.S. This is Weimar, the Fight for Democracy, 4-player game that takes 3 to 6 hours to play. So sounds like kind of a heavy-duty war game, and card-driven, it says. So I don't know. This is not going to be a game necessarily that is, in my wheelhouse. Although I do think it's the subject matter is interesting as somebody who was a history teacher for a number of years, kind of talking about the Weimar Republic and Germany. So that's interesting. Although the game sounds like it might be a little too much for me.
Yeah,
and Matthias Kramer is a really good designer. I mean, Glenn Moore and Kraftwagen are games that I both really enjoy.
Absolutely.
I know I'm missing an obvious one here, but Rococo.
Yeah.
So this sounds really different from him. It is cool to see a designer do something wildly different, even if it's not for me.
Yeah. Dan, you have nothing to say about the Weimar.
It's too long. It's too long. I'm not.
All right. Dan says it's too long. Here we go.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Put on the back of the box.
Moving on, something that does not look quite as long. It says 30 to 60 minutes. This is coming from Gale Force 9, and it's called Tusk, Surviving the Ice Age, from a pair of designers that I'm not familiar with, Sean Goodison and Mike Hott. It says you and your opponents must work together to take down the toughest game. So it sounds like a cooperative game. It's scheduled for release in May 2022. I like that cover quite a bit. I know it's kind of cartoony and silly. It doesn't really look like a Gale Force 9 game to me.
No, it's a semi-co-op, which raises my alarm bells.
Oh, does it say? Oh, it says right there, semi-cooperative. Sorry, yes.
So I've rarely enjoyed a semi-co-op game, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you know, I like the theme of all tribes getting together to hunt down a mammoth.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do it.
If it's short enough, right? It says like 30-minute-ish time play.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for like the semi-co-op game that I think is, fun and works. And some of them drag out too long, right? I think that's why the Legendary games, speaking of, have moved away from the semi-co-op, and I believe all of the new ones are just fully cooperative. So, hey, maybe, I like the cartoony look to it a lot.
The only thing is, it looks a bit like a kid's game, certainly from the cover.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, semi-co-op for kids isn't going to work very well. I certainly wouldn't want to be at that games table.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
You should have played better, daughter. I'm pulling out. Have fun taking down the mammoth.
I will betray you now. It's like,
This is the scorched earth method. Yeah. It's interesting, though. This theme is one that had not been very, heavily utilized, but it seems like lately we're getting more and more of these types of themes. King Domino Origins, and we've got upcoming Endless Winter Paleo Americans, and you have Paleo. So this seems to be a theme that is kind of, in the zeitgeist right now. All right, moving on. We've got a expansion for a game that's really, really popular that I have never played. This is Ginkopolis, The Experts, and this is. It says it's coming March 18th of this year. So 5 new modules this adds to Ginkopolis. So it's a modular expansion. I tend to like modular expansions. Have either of you gentlemen played Ginkopolis?
No, because it's always been very expensive, as far as I'm aware.
Yes.
Is it actually available now? Because I know it was one of those ones that no one could get for ages.
It was just reprinted, I believe.
Right.
Last year
or
so. Yeah.
Making
it
everyone
had been kind of a grail game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I don't think I love it. It seems I'm not going to say random, but a little bit chaotic. Like you could be building up a lot of stuff, and then someone could kind of cut off some of the progress that you've made because you want to make a lot of connecting sectors. So I don't know. It's what I'd have to play again. I enjoyed my play of it, and like you said, modular expansions are kind of neat because you can just throw in a little bit here and there. So. Yeah, I would try this expansion for sure.
It means you've got loads of options that you'll never play, rather than just one option that you'll never play with an expansion.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. I don't like expansions.
Dan's a big fan of expansions. Big fan of expansions. Speaking of expansions, a game that has been heavily expanded and iterated upon is the very popular title Munchkin. And Steve Jackson Games, which is the creator of Munchkin, and Cryptozoic is partnering up to announce something that I can't believe hasn't happened before now, and that's Munchkin Batman. I actually think, Munchkin gets a pretty bad rep in hobby board gaming. And I kind of get it, but I can also tell you that when I first got into games, I played a lot of Munchkin, and there are a lot of people that still play Munchkin a lot. It's still an important game in the hobby, I think. And I think this is another kind of a tie-in that just makes sense to me. I'm kind of intrigued that they got John Kovalik to do the DC art. I didn't, sometimes that's tricky with IPs. They don't always want to allow a different artist to do it, but I think it looks kind of cool.
I think John Kovalic is a known name within comics, isn't he? He's had floppy comics and things. He's had proper comics as well as just being a board game artist. So maybe that's why. I mean, I've got no desire to play it, but I think I think it's fine to exist. I will allow it. Like I will allow it.
Yeah, the idea of what is Munchkin's societal benefit culturally versus how I rate the game, huge disparity. But you know what? If more people are going to jump into the hobby and play neat games because they see Bat Munchkin, which I think is what they should have named it, then cool. You know, then fine. That's fine. And I do like John Kovalik's art style. I think it works so well for this type of game. And so I'm happy to see this because I think the Marvel Munchkin or whatever, Avengers Munchkin or whatever it was called, they had the more serious comic book look to it. This fits better.
Batman's got the whole 60s Batman type thing as well. So Batman is so much more adaptable for comedy, I think, than Marvel. That's
a good point. I agree with that. I'm going to make a bold prediction, gentlemen. Are you ready for the bold prediction?
Yeah.
Okay.
This game's going to be very popular. All right. Woo! Moving on.
Down, Mike.
A game that actually just came into the studio, I haven't even really had a chance to look at it yet, is like they're calling it like Munchkin in reverse here, level 20. This is a Pathfinder, that very important Pathfinder level 20, and it's kind of spinning the Munchkin formula on its head a bit by having the players be the ones to prevent the heroes from reaching level 20. So kind of a reverse Munchkin type of thing. This is also co-published with Gale Force 9. So I don't know. I don't know very much about it other than what we're seeing here. And like I said, we did just get it into the studio, so I'm sure we'll get a chance to look at it. But, you know, Pathfinder is also a very big IP within the industry, and they're mostly known in the role-playing side of things. But they have had like the Pathfinder adventure card game. So they've also had the tabletop edge things a little bit. I don't know. This looks like it could be maybe an entry-level type of a dungeon crawly type thing.
I think if they're in the PR stuff, if they're comparing it to Munchkin, then they are losing a chunk of serious board gamers and gaining a chunk. Munchkin became popular amongst role players as something to play when not everyone turned up at role playing nights. Often that's the case. So it feels like this is a board game aimed at role players with the Pathfinder name, attaching it to Munchkin, all that kind of stuff, rather than a board game aimed at board gaming. But I mean, there's cross pollination everywhere, so I'm not saying no one can play it, but that's what it feels like to me.
All right.
Judging by the fact that it doesn't say cooperative anywhere, I'm going to guess that this is a competitive game. Otherwise, they would probably try to put that front and center. But
players compete as adventurers who want to be the first to hit level 20. So yeah, it sounds like a competitive game. Yep.
Okay.
And it was created by the co-designer of Dragonfire, Evil Dead 2 board game. So someone who's had some games already published.
Got it.
All right, moving on to what I think is going to be a very divisive cover. And I'm a big believer in board game covers. We were having this discussion in the studio yesterday. I was getting on my soapbox, Dan. I was climbing up on my soapbox, and I was saying...
Did you need to reach a shelf, Mike? Because you're quite short. We're just trying to reach a shelf.
Let's not get caught up in the details. Okay. Let's not get caught up in the details, Dan. But
You're trying to get Tom to pay attention to you. I get it, Mike.
I was shouting from the rooftops. Yeah. Just that I feel like board game covers are much more important than I think some publishers realize. They can really, I think, make a huge difference in how popular your game is. I don't know what I feel about this cover yet. It's called Revive by Aporta Games. Part of me absolutely... You're right. Part of me loves it, and part of me thinks that this is going to be a huge problem. Because if you're looking at it from just the front, if this is the final cover, and let's put that out there. I don't know if this is the final cover or not. It says it's scheduled for release in Essen this year, so this might be an early prototype, rendering. Part of me really likes it because it's doing something bold, kind of like the Etherfields cover did, and part of me thinks that it's going to put a lot of people off. It's about rebuilding civilization 5,000 years after everything is destroyed. It's got kind of this Aporta design team that's been behind games like Santa Maria, Trails of Tucana. I'm intrigued by the game itself, and I kind of like the cover, but again, what are your thoughts?
Aporta has two types of covers. You have your Automania Santa Maria goofy cartoon cover, and then you have Peak Oil and this. This is it's an odd mishmash for the company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I think I've chosen the wrong flower. I'd have gone with the tulip personally rather than that's my hot take on it. I don't think because you're gonna have to see it from the side to read what it is. I think not having the name of the game on the front is a bold but potentially foolish move. I don't know.
Abyss
I would
did
label it
that,
under
right?
mistake.
Yeah,
maybe. Remember, Abyss didn't have the title on the cover either.
It did, and I'm willing to bet that didn't help it tremendously. What I think would be neat, actually, would be is if the rest of the word for evive was written in like what is that? The spot UV, something like it would be cool to see like an optical illusion, right? So that
maybe it is, Chris.
You can't see it at one angle, you do see it slightly from the side.
It's more looking at it online that I'm thinking of. In online stores, they only generally have the front box head on, don't they? So I think it'd be fine in a brick and mortar store, it'd be on its side. That'd be absolutely fine. But on an online store, it'd be very difficult. I don't know. I don't think it'll work. But
maybe it's like one of those.
I like it. I think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's like one of those Magic 3D posters where the cover is the title of the cover is out there. You just have to look through it. Just keep lose focus and you'll see it.
No, they don't exist. That's a scam. That's a scam done by poster manufacturers. I've never seen one of them in my life. Don't get me started on that. We're going to be here all day.
All right. Moving on from the classic tabletop to the digital implementations of tabletop, we've got a Wavelength app. That's going to be today. It's scheduled to release today. So interesting. I mean, this is an app that's free to play. And then although you can get packs of extra cards to supplement the 200, as an IEP or something. So I don't know. I think this is a game that could work well as an app. It loses kind of that big. One of the things about Wavelength that I think people like is that kind of big centerpiece component where you move the little dial and reveal. So I don't know.
I think this is a fantastic move by them. I think this is good. This game would have the potential to go because you're right. It does lose that table presence, and among board gamers, I'm sure a lot of board gamers would like to think. But this could go viral. This could be the new Wordle.
It could.
Because Wavelength's a really interesting game, and they broaden their entire. And by making it free, they broaden the entire audience for this. So this gets enough momentum. This could transcend the board gaming world and just become something that teenagers play on the bus.
I always have my phone on me. I can't always carry the big box of Wavelength with me. So this is, I think this is fantastic.
Yeah, it'd be a great drinking game. Great game for parties. Yeah. This could be a bit like that game where you put the phone on your head and stuff. I think.
I was just going to mention that one. What's it called? The Ellen DeGeneres talks about it all the time, or she may even be associated with it. Heads Up, or I don't remember what it's called, but
head flip or
something.
Yeah, head on.
Phone on head
directly to the forehead.
Nokia Dome. Yeah, no, this is I was thinking the same game. That's interesting, Dan. All right, moving on to what apparently is good for the industry, according to our Stephen Bonacore, our dice guy here, is Games Workshop is announcing price increases. So Dan, this is here specially for you. So across multiple product lines, including Warhammer 40K, and more, it's going to take effect for U.S. retailers March 7th of this year. And they're saying it's in response to rising costs of electricity, gas, raw material, shipping, and general inflation occurring in many parts of the world. They're reporting that the price increases on their products will mostly be around 5%. However, for certain products like books, scenery, resin minis, the price increase could be upwards of 10%. And on Blood Bowl teams and metal miniatures, the price could go up around 20%. Wow. Certain things are going to be spared from this: paint and paint sets, brushes and tools. So I think it's interesting in a couple of respects, and then I'll shut up so that Dan, you can rant and rave about how you ain't paying them prices. But I think that if you're going to do something like this, it's good to be as transparent as possible, and it sounds like they are doing that. They're not trying to kind of sneak this in; they're putting it out there. That's all I have to say about it. Dan, what do you think? And Chris?
I think it's a real shame because I think Games Workshop are in danger of losing their value for money reputation, of being very cheap things, cheap and cheerful things to get into. No, I mean, well, that's just an extra £1,000 per model, isn't it? 5%, something like that. No, Games Workshop. The thing about Games Workshop is the quality of their stuff is so high, and they do manufacture in the UK, which puts them at a lot of market forces and things like that. So it's a lifestyle game, isn't it? People who are into it. So 5% isn't going to drive those people away. It might drive some of the casual people away. It certainly might drive me away from buying that extra Blood Bowl team or something like that. It was interesting they're not going to put the prices up in Australia or New Zealand, which is probably for the best, seeing as Australia and New Zealand are notoriously expensive Games Workshop stuff. So that's at least a break for those guys. But Games Workshop's going to Games Workshop. What can you do?
I think prices in general are going to go up for many sectors of the hobby. So
yeah.
That's what's going to be, I think.
Asmodee have increased prices all over the board. I know. It's just expensive. It's getting expensive.
It's just part of it. I think that, costs are going up all around. All right. We're going to end the news here with some pretty big breaking news. This is just very, very recently been announced. And this is that Ravensburger, the very, very well-known publisher, is investing in Gamefound, which is a crowdsourcing platform for board games and also a pledge manager. And so this is pretty big news. Before we talk about it, what we're going to do is we are going to cut to an interview. Tom Vasel interviewed Marcin from, Tom Vasel, he runs the Dice Tower.
Oh, right.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Random.
So he interviewed Marcin from Awaken Realms and Gamefound, and so we'll cut to that, and then we'll come back, say a couple of things, and that'll be the news. So let's cut over to that interview with Tom and Marcin.
Hey everybody, Tom Vasel here with Martin Schwerkout from Gamefound. Now we talk about Gamefound a lot.
Yep.
Gamefound is a crowd surfing platform that is mostly used, well, almost exclusively used for board games and card games and things like that. But you have some pretty big news, and so we thought we'd bring you in and talk to you about it. So what's the big news?
All right, so cool news, pretty exciting, is that we're joined by Ravensburger as an investor for the crowdfunding and also as a strategic partner. This is like $4.5 million deal, and this will basically boost the development abilities of the platform, so hopefully be able to introduce more functionality soon. But also, I take it as a kind of cool thing, cool trend in the general direction of the kind of crowdfunding, because I think this is the first time that this kind of like mainstream publisher actually took a direct interest towards the crowdfunding process. And, I think that it's about time, seeing how many awesome games are from this kind of like crowdfunding sector, and then coming to retail and just doing extremely well. All right. So it's pretty exciting for us here.
Right, so let's talk about this a little bit. So here I am, I come in, I hear this news. So Gamefound, a lot of people have been hearing about them because we've been talking about them. You started out originally as a fulfillment or a pledge manager.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people used and still used. It's one of the most used, if not the most used, one for campaigns, many of them on Kickstarter. And then you started, when did Gamefound start doing its own projects? That was about a year and a half ago, I think?
It's like a year ago, almost exactly. So we started in December 2020 with ESS Vanguard, but actually it finished at January 2021. So let's 2021 it was the crowdfunding year when we started actually for the first time going with it.
So you've been growing and adding more projects. There was just a few at the very beginning, and we're starting to see a slow growth being added to the website. So what does this mean in regards to how the company works? Will we see any changes in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, like generally, for sure, we'll have to structure the team better, right? Because it was as a startup, right? It started, I don't know, 5-6 years ago with just one, developer, software development. Right now, we're a team of like 15, 18 people, and then we are, with this investment, we'll be able to grow even further as a team. So it will be a little bit, challenging to make sure that everything is working properly in terms of the team. But then we hope that we'll have like a big growth in terms of what basically we can offer.
Are we going to
creators? How well we can, kind of service them, right?
Will we see more projects coming to Gamefound then? Like, I mean, will the rate of projects increase?
We are aiming to open. So right now we're in a closed beta, so we're only like approving few, and usually it was like 3 to 5 campaigns a month, right?
Right.
And this beta period was important for us just to, see, what is needed, what we need to fix, the kind of things we wanted to make sure that once we'll make the platform open for everyone, it will be ready basically. And we're coming to that. It should be early March where we are opening the Gamefound. So that will be super interesting to see. But, obviously we'll see, but in 2021, we generally had projects that in total gathered $23 million, 22, 23, something around that. And that's, for the first year company startup, I think that's quite a lot. We had, some amazing campaigns for Too Many Bones, great game, great campaign. We got He-Man, Skyrim. So, a lot of interesting projects, and it's really exciting to be a part of that when you see those, great games coming out and kind of community interacting with creators. That's really cool experience.
So when I looked over the press release here, I'm looking to see, so Ravensburger, obviously they're pumping some money into the company, but does this mean we're going to see their games or some games from them show up on Gamefound?
Sure, it is possible. We'll see. Generally, there will be a time where we'll just kind of see what works best, right? In terms of like where are the synergies, how best we can use it. And there are like a lot of ways of doing that. For one of the ideas is, sure, maybe we'll be able to introduce some kind of games through crowdfunding from Ravensburger, or the other way around is also possible. Like, what about we'll be able to take the most, some of the campaigns, for example, fit portfolio of Ravensburger, get them in touch, and maybe we'll be able to like ease out the transition from crowdfunding then to like a general retail and make some games more available, not only during the crowdfunding, but also after.
All right, well, this is very interesting. We'll look forward to see what's going to happen. We think that Gamefound is going to get more involved in this, and I told you before, I'm really rooting for you all. I think that this space is very interesting. As a side note, we do have Gamefound sponsorship on the Dice Tower channel, and we use them for our own pledge manager for our Kickstarter project that we ran this year. But I have nothing but good things to say in those regards. So thanks, and we look forward to seeing the future. Back to the Pirates.
So pretty big news, I think. This is something that I think it's interesting to me for a couple of things. Number one, I think just generally as a consumer of crowdfunded games, and I've purchased many games on crowdfunding programs. I think competition is good, right? I think generally speaking, it's going to hopefully move the whole thing forward a bit. And the other thing is just that it's an interesting combination in that Ravensburger, that name I think holds a lot of weight in hobby board gaming. It's a company that's been around a long time, and I think it lends some legitimacy to a relatively new platform like Gamefound. So I'm very interested in seeing where this goes.
Yeah, it's like the old world and the new world meeting, isn't it? I mean, Simon and all that kind of stuff. They're the new generation of things, and them using Kickstarter isn't exactly surprising, but Ravensburger, you know, this is a weighty, proper German company that's been around for decades.
I mean, half their product line is puzzles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of what I think of them for are these kind of partnering with Alea, the big box, medium box line. I don't think of them as a crowdfunding company. So I think that that's interesting because maybe I don't know if that means that they're going to move that direction. I think it more so just means they know a good opportunity when they see it, and so they're going to jump in on it and work together on it.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a change in direction for them. It's going to be interesting. I think Kickstarter has floundered a little bit recently. It's made a number of missteps that have not been particularly popular with people. It's not changed since it first started. And they've got some real competition coming up with Gamefound now. And I think, like, as you say, that can only be good for the community and good for the consumer, ultimately.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll all be keeping a very keen eye on that indeed. So let's go to our final block of contributors, and then we'll come back to wish you a fond farewell. Let's cut to the contributors.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Doug Jr.
And I'm Doug the Third.
And you're watching a Fellowship of Meeples with Doug and Doug Gaming. Well, today I'm excited because we are starting a new series called Dirt Cheap Games. Wow! We are going to check out some games that I have purchased brand new for $5 or maybe give or take $1, right in that area. Starting with this one that I found in an unusual spot. This is called Hold Your Horses. I found this at a Tractor Supply store for $3.99 in the bargain bin. And this is put out by Front Porch Games. And we played it last night, you and I and Mom. It's a very simple game where you're basically rolling dice, moving the horse tokens up
and seeing what happens.
And seeing what happens.
We're just seeing what happens.
It's 100% luck.
Yep. There's no strategy to it, but you get to sit at a table with people that you enjoy being around, and you just see who wins. That's all there is to it.
It's really just a simple diversion more than I would call it a game.
It's a time filler.
It's a time filler for sure. So, if you got some people that maybe aren't gamers, like you were saying, then...
or somebody very young.
Maybe somebody younger too. Exactly. It's almost something you can kind of just watch it happen.
You can.
And root for your horse that you want to win. So, no strategies to change it. But again, Hold Your Horses, interesting little diversion if you just need a few moments to do something. So, hey, next week we're going to check out another dirt cheap game. So join us again on a Fellowship of Meeples with Doug and Doug Gaming.
Bye!
Hey folks, Jeff from Tabletop Toolbox here, continuing my look at my top 10 things and stuff from 2021. Now this will probably be my most abstract and also my most candid of topics because my number 6 is this. I mean, literally, it's this. It's producing content for the Dice Towers Board Game Breakfast. My first video came out in late 2020, but like a good strategy game, it took a couple of attempts for me to figure things out and for me to find my voice. But in 2021, I started to have a lot of fun. I was doing work with green screens, and I started to get pretty creative with my editing, even did some Lego stop motion that I think folks really enjoyed. But what was even cooler than all of that was running into people at some events like the Retreat and PAX Unplugged and having them say, hey, I recognize you from the show. I really like your content. Or how long did that Lego video take? Which, by the way, a long time. That took a long time, but it was so much fun to put that stuff together. And I want to thank Tom Vassell and all the folks there at the Dice Tower. It was a tremendous experience getting to meet a lot of you this year. Z Garcia, Roy Kennedy, Mike DiLisio, and Chrissy, of course. Just a blast to get to hang out with you guys. And I'm looking forward to meeting some more of you this year. I mentioned at the start of this series that 2022 is going to be a little bit of a challenge for us. There's a lot going on. Nothing's bad, just a big project that we're working on. But I'm looking forward to the next content. I've already got some new ideas for the It's Out Now series that I cannot wait to start producing. So I'm going to keep doing what I do in 2022. God, I'm sorry. Gosh, that was terrible. And I'm embarrassed, and I should be. Listen, I'm going to get back to the games with the next episode. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then. Cheers. 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 Jolly good.
Cheers.
Bye.
And that's going to wrap us up for another edition of Pirate Board Game Breakfast. It has been our pleasure. And make sure to stick around because later on today, we've got a couple of very exciting events happening here on the Dice Tower. At 11 o'clock in just under an hour, we've got a We'll Play It Live with Gold West. And I'm going to be in on that one. I've not played that game before. I'm looking forward to it. And then at 2 o'clock, we're going to do... What's that?
You're in for a treat.
Oh, that's what I hear, Chris. You've sold this very highly. I hope it can hold up. And then at 2 o'clock, we're going to do another We'll Play It Live of Manara, the cooperative dexterity game. So very much looking forward to that one as well.
I'm not playing any of them.
You're not, Dan. You can watch and play along with us virtually. How about that?
I don't watch stuff without I'm not in it. What's the point?
Dan, you can get the crowd to turn on mic.
Yeah. I can heckle from the sidelines. That's what I'll do.
There you go. That sounds fantastic. Well, again, it's been a joy, and until next time, I'm Mike DiLisio.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Dan Hughes.
Have fun picking popcorn kernels out of your teeth.
With sharp objects.